with a wish for all people to be free, I will always go for refuge to a live, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the presence of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, of any lineage and time or none, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. A reminder, because I tend to forget, so maybe you do too. There are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas everywhere. It's not like long, long ago, far, far away, in another country, there was a Buddha, realized being, and he had a bunch of students and they became bodhisattvas, whatever that may mean, not what we think it means. If you look around and allow your attention to rest into the enormous amount of beings in our world who are living a life of service to others, not because they're martyrs, that's the Christian thing, and sacrificing themselves, because they get that that's the only thing that actually brings any joy and happiness. And if you are lucky enough to run into one, and I have a theory that they're bodhisattvas that kind of arise and then boop, we forget and fall away, all of us. We have moments of bodhisattva open-heartedness and things occur. And then we go, oops, wait a minute, what about me? And then we go back to being normal again, as normal as any of us are. So everywhere in this moment, in this time, if we place our attention on the negativity that is running rampant and runs rampant through our media, our social media, all the things we tune into, we may not notice all those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in our presence right now. We get to choose where we place our attention. So with that in mind, today, how about we place it on what Chenrezig symbolizes. Realizing that there is no independently arising being, no form arises as an independent being, or even an independent wall, which you can consider alive if you actually realize how much everything that composite together to make that wall is wiggling all over the darn place. Well, I got so excited about that sentence, I forgot what the end of it was. Okay, I think we better just see what we can do with Chenrezig. Traditionally, what we do to start this practice is to call up, or actually just rest into, whichever arises for you in this moment. Maybe a memory of a time that you felt unconditional, unboundaried love. Oh, probably not with our child once they're a teenager. We know we still love them, but they're not always easy. And trust me, we're not always easy for them. It's a two-way street. But maybe a kitten, a puppy, your baby when it's starting to sleep through the night and falls asleep in your arms, looking at you as babies tend to do with kind of indescribable openness. Perhaps it's sound. Perhaps you're moved by music or drums, just obviously a form of music. Perhaps sound, perhaps movement. The sense of motion of all form, all beings, never static, always changing. Maybe it's from watching the sunset. I could give you probably a million different kinds of stimulus, which is almost always different for us among different beings, of what moves us to that relaxation of heart. When I say heart, I'll be Tibetan here. Heart, mind, same location. Not talking about intellect at this moment. When that wave of openness or warmth, or what we sometimes label love, once we put the label on it, we've squished it. Once we attach it to the stimulus, we've squished it. But that wave, best word I have for it, that is pretty indescribable. I could talk about it, and some of you would go, oh yeah, that's how I feel. And we will have squished it. Because as that indescribable openness arises, you can see with, can look, feel, sense without attachment before we do that thing we do, because we like it and we want to hold on to it. Before we separate away from it, describe it, attach it, or some of us, maybe we pushed it away. It's utterly open. Have to look in a way that we're not used to. And I don't like to use the word look, really. Have to sense in a way we're not used to. That is not run through our constant describer. And from that openness, though we won't have a description until we get back to our normal way, in that moment of openness, there is no separation between I and everything out there. there's actually very little sensation of time or place. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to, whether you call it resting in open awareness, catching that second before we start doing things to it, to the experience. There's describing the experience, which squishes it. And then there's experiencing the experience as it is in that moment. And it is possible, and I believe many of you have had moments where the experience, in effect, overrides the describer, overrides the separation. And there can be resting there. Whatever you call up today or experience in this moment, there also can be a noticing of the loosening of the tightness. Nope, the minute we notice it, we separate. That's the describer. I don't have words for this. If we can catch the moment as it is, not catch it, experience it as it is, in that moment, we will start to notice it. Oh, no. Okay, just do the best you can with my words because they're not going to be very accurate. That sensation, that thing I'm pointing at that we notice, is always present. What? We just need a stimulus to help us notice or experience that warmth, that sensation. And it is possible to practice in such a way that there is a resting there without a grabbing, attaching, or doing anything at all. That's when we start to notice. That is the natural bodhisattva that is always present. And again, there we are with words. The minute I notice that, boom, gone. I've squished it. So how do we learn to practice to just rest when such things arise and not define it, grasp it? Well, I think Chenrezig practice is a pretty good way. In the moment of that arising, and we're trying in here, trying because we're practicing, it's a trying. We're trying to recall it, imagine it, but we cannot in any way get the full experience of it on purpose. I haven't found a way. If you do, let me know. Have you ever had something that kind of always brings up that feeling in you or that sensation, whatever you want to call it? And then you try to grab onto it and you try to make it happen. And darn it, doesn't work. Fresh in every moment. Just like that spaciousness that's so frequently pointed at, where all manifestation arises and dissolves. You can have an idea or a description about that. And when we sit, we can go, okay, wait a minute, what did that feel like? Okay, I remember emptiness, let's see, spaciousness. Okay, I'm resting there. Nope. That's fresh in every moment, too. The good news is spaciousness and natural bodhicitta are always present. You are that. It's where you arose, it's where you're going to disintegrate into. That's the good news. The bad news is it's very hard to let go of our desire to control something, anything, is it not? And so we look in our past and we hold on to things from there that aren't happening anymore, but they're a part of who we think we are. And maybe we use that to try to protect ourselves from being hurt again, or any number of things. Or we start looking into the future. Oh, what am I going to do about that situation? Oh, I don't know what to do about that situation. And what's going to happen when this happens and that happens and this happens? Past and future, where all our suffering, not pain. We have things that hurt. We've lost a loved one's form. It hurts. We miss them. Let's not pretend that doesn't happen. We're not trying to kill all feeling here. How on earth to live freshly in every moment? Because intellectually, we do know that's all we have. Past is gone, right? Future hasn't come yet. Not easy to let the past be in the past. We want to fix it. We want to make it so it wasn't what we didn't like. Or we want to get rid of it. We want to fix ourselves so it doesn't bother us anymore, even though we know it's not happening. Anybody ever woke up in the middle of the night going, oh God, what am I going to do about that? I made such a fool of myself. How am I going to fix that? How am I going to make that different? I don't know. We're human. Our bodies are made to try to survive. And by bodies, I'm including all the sense organs, all the thoughts, feelings, and perceptions that make us who we think we are. We're always messing with stuff because our body is designed to survive. Otherwise, probably our race wouldn't have survived, our species. We don't have to get rid of our body or try to tell our body it's wrong. Bodies, that's what they do. It's okay. We can be kind and say, yeah, there you go again. Trying to protect me, trying to keep me alive, trying to do all those things our body does. But we're not just our body. I love the analogy of a wave. I like water. And the idea of just picture every single wave, ripple, big waves, little waves, everything that's moving in the ocean, crashing on the shore. Every single form of a wave trying to hold itself still so it can survive. Well, then we could laugh at the wave. Well, we might have more compassion. We'd say, oh, little wave, for goodness sakes, you are never holding still to begin with. There's no way to hold still. Nothing in form holds still ever. Give it up, wave, and have a look around you. Deeply look. Where are you arising? Oh, that's right, sure. You are the ocean. You are the water. Ah, you can't be anything but. It's where you arose from. It's where you're going to dissolve back into. We can do all kinds of intellectual studies to convince ourselves that that's obviously true. Experientially is much more important. So as we today begin to rest into whatever we choose for the moment, there are days I have, being human, where I really have to try to search for some memory of loving anything, because who knows why in that day. And I don't want to fake it. So it makes absolutely no difference whether you call on a time you felt open hearted. You might be able to experience that loosening of the tightness in which we hold our heart. Oh, yeah, everything seemed to just relax, and everything was okay in that moment. Whether you try to call that up or imagine that as something you felt, or perhaps you're a lucky enough being to have felt that kind of love from another being. Maybe your teacher, maybe a yidam, maybe, and I have no problem with this whatsoever. Maybe it's a Hallmark movie. Those of you who don't know those, they come out a lot around Christmas and they always make me cry. Those heartwarming stories. Maybe you'll remember music and hearing it, maybe in a live performance where you just found yourself sobbing. Did you love the music or did the music love you? Pretty hard to tell the difference. And as you rest as you can in this moment, in whatever sensation you have called up or are experiencing. Again, traditionally, we picture a lotus of 1,000 petals, lotus made of light. Picture that lotus in our heart chakra. It's where we experience that feeling, that sensation. There are a lot of people that try to talk about where it is scientifically and every other way. To me, I don't really care. It's where I experience it. Sometimes it's so big, it feels like I experience it in my entire body, beyond my entire body. It's just everything, everywhere. Can't help but add all the time, for those of you who saw that. Sometimes it's a little warm flame, maybe like thing, and it feels right in my heart chakra, what's designated heart chakra. It's where that sensation occurs. And that 1,000-petaled lotus made of light. By our nurturing to allow it to relax, opens into its full blossom. We notice in the middle 6 petals made of different colors of light, each with one of the syllables of the mantra sitting on it. In the mantra, I would say it together or repeat after me, depending on how you feel today. 6 syllables. Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, May, Hum, Om Mani, Padme, Hum, Om Mani, Padme, Hum. If you have a mala and want to move one of the beads for each time you say the mantra, it is said that the energy of Chenrezig, open-hearted, open-minded, unbounded, unlimited love, will become part of the mala. And you can reach for it when you want that support. Suggested that you continue to repeat that mantra quietly, or I guess loudly, why not? As we go through the practice. If it falls away naturally, don't worry about it. And as you say the mantra, I'm also going to invite you to feel the sound of the mantra in your body as you say it. Feel the vibration of the sound moving in your body. As the words are expressed, notice where the sound is. Are you hearing it outside with your ear organ? Or are you hearing it inside as it rises through your body? Or neither, or both? It's a very powerful practice in and of itself, especially if you like sound. The science has said for quite a long time, oh, light travels through all of space. We figured that one out. Almost to the point of being able to see all the way back to the Big Bang, in theory, which for some reason I'm worried might make our entire universe disappear. But that's just me because I play with those kinds of things. How amazing that recently it was always assumed that the universe was silent. In vacuum space, all that, whatever. And now, recently, there's an underlying hum being detected throughout the universe. Not so quiet as was thought. Kind of cool. Perhaps that vibration of sound is not separate and is connected with the sound of the universe. Where does the sound start? Look around, feel around. Where does it end? Oh, I know where my ears can't hear it anymore. But since sound and light are both waves, I may not be able to detect where they end or even if they end. That's pretty cool. So as we say the mantra in those 6 inner petals of different colored light, carrying the seed symbol of the mantra, which is only, the mantra is only the sound of complete open-hearted, open-minded, unlimited, unconditional. Need to even put the tag love on it. The natural essence of bodhicitta. And as we say it, the 6 inner petals start to turn clockwise. If you're Buddhist, from the Bon tradition, I think it goes counterclockwise. I don't know if that's meaningful. Those petals start to turn, and as they represent all form, all manifestation, they represent all light. And as the light mingles as it goes round and round, as will happen organically when all light comes into one place, all colors. The color is white, true of light. And so those petals become white light, not static like a spotlight or a flashlight, but warm, bright, with life and light. Not in any way stagnant or static. Waves of warm light. And the 6 inner petals spinning elongate into rays of that white light and fill the lotus until all the 1,000 petals of that lotus extend into rays of white, radiant, vibrant, alive light. The sound of the mantra rides those rays of light. The vibration of the mantra, the sound rides the waves of light. And they extend out into the universe naturally, radiant, touching 1,000 beings. There's no limitation on the rays of this radiant light. Reaches into the past, present, future, imaginary time. No limit in space. As far as your imagination reaches, these rays of light travel. No limitation of what they touch. Any species, things you can't see, but the cells in your body, the microbes in the trees, or things that are so large we can't see them because we can't imagine them. No limitation whatsoever. And as those 1,000 rays of light touch the heart chakra, the lotus of 1,000 beings, their hearts, their lotus can relax and open. And now, and I've realized finally, I've always known it, but now it's really stuck. The math in this is not correct, so don't worry about that. It's the feel of it, the sensation of it. So we say, so if our 1,000 rays of light have touched 1,000 beings, and they have relaxed, so now there are 1,000 rays of light radiating naturally, organically out into the universe, touching 1,000 beings, allowing them to finally relax, let go of that tight hold that form has to survive. Now there's 1,000 rays of light, touching 1,000 beings, carrying the sound waves, carrying the vibration, carrying the luminosity of aliveness. This is the true refuge of interconnectedness. We are all created by our interactions with other beings. Took other beings, many of them, generations of them, especially the most current last two, to create us. Then we started interacting, beings and more beings and more beings. As we are not independently existent, we didn't come from nothing to become something. And when we dissolve from our form, we will not go back to nothing. Very difficult to kill energy. Just transforms. When the time is right, conditions are right, we manifest again. Not as this I that we hold so dear, but the interaction of the rays of light, the sound, the vibration of all life. Some people visualize this like a web, where the intersecting light, some of which comes back out of those thousand rays, and fills your heart yet again and again and again. And people sense this, experience this as like a web, and where the intersections occur, like little nodes of those of us who we perceive as our individual self. Really no such thing. And yet we can't deny that we exist. It's not this or that. It's the true nature of Nirmanakaya. Wouldn't it be lovely if we imagined for a moment that we all recognized this interconnection? And we're able, at least for a moment together, to recognize the interconnecting arising of all of us, all four. If we then responded with that understanding to all beings, it'd be a very different world. And we can rest right here. When this manifestation dissolves, disintegrates, whatever you want to call it, and the causes and conditions arise at another time to manifest, it will be something new, and yet probably not completely new. Waves, continuity of waves. Again, noticing in this interconnectedness of light, sound, vibration. No thing ever stays the same, even for a second. And our hearts may break open in a way, realizing how hard all beings try to hold things steady, just want things to hold still. I just want me to be like this. I want them to be like this. Maybe I can make that happen. Ouch. Ouch. If you're drawn in any time you do this practice to rest here, rest in the experience of the interconnectedness. You can even have thoughts, feelings, perceptions arise. Certain beings may come into your mind that you feel have shaped who you are. Some in ways that you think are positive, some in ways that you experience as very negative. Hard to control that also. Might in this part of the time we spend, or you spend on your own, look right here, from here, and ask, who am I? What am I? And you see all our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions shaped by all of our experience and the stories we told ourselves about and the things we liked or didn't like. They'll all come and go. Everything we identify as us, me, is a come and go. Well, that can be unsettling unless you're resting in a refuge of pure, radiant, vibrant light. Pretty nice refuge, wouldn't you say? Right there. And as we continue with that, those rays, thousand rays of light, touching 1,000 beings, allowing them to relax, open, no thing to protect. Thousand light rays, sound waves, vibration, touching 1,000 beings. Light coming back in, touching you again. Until there are an infinite number of rays of light, sound, vibration, touching an infinite number of beings. And there is no thing other than light, sound, vibration. If you are lucky enough to fall in enough, the more you do the practice, the greater the chances of falling. There's no being to look at the light. That would be our habit. Oh, let me look at all that. No, you are that light. There is no thing other than that light. The essence of Sambhogakaya. The essence of potential for all manifestation to occur. Spark of life. There's no describer that's going to get it right. Always there. Full of light, sound, vibration. Something may break loose. A great heart opening. When you grasp your form back, which we will, something always arises. Somebody calls us. We're hungry. We have to pee. We are in bodies. We're not going to disappear and not come back. Well, if you did, it might not be too bad. I don't know. How can you, this you that we call ourselves, this I, how can you say you're lonely when you are embraced, embracing an embracer, not separate from the universe? Feel that tightness come, but I'm lonely. Darn. Can't deny that that occurs for all of us. And you open to the possibility that that whole bill block description and sensation and feeling and perception is an illusion. You can't make yourself believe that. Well, if you can, let me know. I can't deny the sensations, feelings, thoughts, perceptions that are arising. No need to. It's just life. Can we gently rest in this practice so we don't hold on to them so tightly? And then, having described something that we find unpleasant, work as hard as we possibly can to change it. It was an illusion in the first place. Ah, does that hurt the heart? For all of us. How much do we suffer from that? Ouch. And where does that luminosity, that light, that radiance, that sound, that vibration, where does it hang out? Always present. In the very spaciousness beyond description. The third of the kayas, which are never ever separate, called Dharmakaya. Also beyond description. We can watch our thoughts arise and dissolve, rise and dissolve. There's a nice expression. Follow them home. Where did they arise from? Where did they dissolve to? Dharmakaya. Beyond duality. No born, birth, no death. That's a duality. No up, no down. No right, no wrong. Beyond time. First time I noticed it, it scared the shit out of me. I didn't actually notice I was that too. And I thought, well, how the hell am I going to act in this? It doesn't care. I could be perfect, it wouldn't care. I could be a jerk, it wouldn't care. It's no it, but that's what sensation I had. And I had missed the aliveness, the luminosity. Well, don't miss that. That's the big deal for me. Certainly glad there's this non-dual unlimited spaciousness where all of this arises. That's pretty cool. Without that, I'm a Sambhogakaya kind of gal. Wisdom, spaciousness, where all things arise beyond time, beyond duality. Open-heartedness, bodhicitta, Sambhogakaya, never separate. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, this will blow the whole meeting up, but almost like a couple of parents constantly making more babies. Try to get that out of your mind, or just a road. They have the natural, the natural arising of this dance of Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, of wisdom and compassion. However you want to put a name on it, it's not knowable by name. Is creative. No limitation to what can arise and dissolve. Will we love all of it? Probably not. To see underneath the belief systems, the emotional reaction, this whole Bill Blah of our perceptions. Underneath that is this magnificent dance. Created you, and you, and you, and you, and me. And we get to go home right back to it when we're done. Refuge. Will we all contract at some point again and go, oh, but what about me? Of course we will, until we don't anymore. Practice will do in the death, dying, and impermanence if everybody's willing. Just a practice of reminding by saying things. I am not my body. I am infinite light. I am not contained or trapped in my body. I am infinite light. Light. Remember who you are. And we'll still want to hold on anyway sometimes. It's our nature, yes? Such a pleasure to be with you again. Thank you so much for coming so we could do this together. Whatever moment of opening or whatever might have been beneficial to even one cell of your body or anybody else's. May we not grab it, hold on to it, try to figure it out, try to shape it to be what we want, try to blah, 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 blah. And have such compassion for all of us who are continually trapped in that pattern. Let it go. Let whatever openness or benefit, no need to hold it. It's infinite. May it touch all beings. May all of us keep walking together May all beings be free. Ooh, so cool. Thank you so much. Thank you, Eleonora, for translating.